The Sunnybank Cricket Club training ground sits flush against a public community garden. During a weekend practice match, an experienced batsman steps up and hits a powerful drive. Instead of flying straight, the ball clips the bowler's shoe, ricocheting upward at a bizarre angle. As it rises, a sudden, strong gust of wind catches the ball, altering its trajectory entirely. It sails completely over the club's heavy-duty, 5-meter-high protective netting. The ball lands in the adjacent garden, striking Mr. Torres while he tends his vegetable patch and causing a severe concussion. Mr. Torres sues the cricket club. His claim asserts they failed to take reasonable care to contain the balls and protect their neighbors. A severe injury undeniably occurred, but translating physical trauma into legal liability requires isolating the exact mechanics of the accident from the emotion of the injury itself. A common assumption is that if an object leaves a property and causes harm, the property owner is automatically financially responsible. Negligence law operates differently. It demands proof of a failure of care rather than just proof that an injury happened. Legal professionals dismantle disputes using an objective, deductive algorithm. This framework strips away emotional bias, forcing us to test objective variables against established legal thresholds. Here is the empty IRAC framework: issue, rule, analysis, and conclusion, waiting for data input. To discover the true legal outcome of Mr. Torres's lawsuit, we must feed the raw data of the Sunnybank dispute directly into this 4-step engine. The first step, the issue, requires translating a messy dispute into a precise, binary legal question. For Sunnybank, the question is, did the club breach its duty of care to its neighbors by failing to contain the cricket ball? That leads us to the rule stage, establishing the legal standard required to answer that question. The standard here is reasonable care. The law does not demand absolute perfection or impose strict liability on property owners. This diagram illustrates how reasonable care is determined by calculating a mathematical tension between two opposing forces. The first force is the foreseeable probability and magnitude of the risk. The opposing force is the practical, financial, and social burden required to prevent it. A breach of reasonable care only occurs if the calculated probability of the harm significantly outweighs the burden of the precautions taken to stop it. In the analysis stage, specific facts from the Sunnybank event are sorted onto the scales we just established. First, we evaluate foreseeability. Is it historically predictable that a ball could escape the grounds? Looking at this timeline of the club's 15-year operational history, only one ball has ever cleared the net before this incident. This historical data proves the risk is theoretically known, but mathematically minuscule. Next, we analyze the specific chain of causation that led to this single injury. It began with a high-speed ricochet directly off a bowler's shoe. That was immediately compounded by a sudden, strong gust of wind, altering the ball's trajectory mid-air. The combination of an extremely rare historical precedent and a freakish sequence of immediate physical events drives the statistical predictability down to near zero. While the resulting concussion was severe, the objective legal probability of this exact event occurring was extraordinarily low. We now pivot to the opposing side of the scale, evaluating the burden of precaution already undertaken by the club. This schematic details the club's primary, existing safeguard: a heavy-duty boundary netting standing 5 meters tall. This massive physical structure acts as a significant weight on the precaution side of the legal calculus. To entirely prevent this specific freak accident, we have to ask what additional precautions the club would have needed to take. Absolute prevention would require extreme measures, such as building a solid architectural dome over the entire pitch or halting community matches entirely. The financial and social burden of imposing these extreme measures is wholly disproportionate to the minute risk of a double ricochet wind gust event. Because the burden of further prevention vastly outweighs the tiny probability of risk, the club's existing 5-meter precaution is legally highly reasonable. We reach the final stage, the conclusion. This must be a direct, unavoidable output of the preceding analysis. Based on the tipped scales, the formal legal conclusion is clear. The Sunnybank Cricket Club did not breach its duty of care. Mr. Torres's claim for negligence will fail, and he will not receive damages from the club. This verdict was entirely dictated by the objective weighing of historical data and structural burdens, rather than sympathy for the injured party. The IRAC methodology provides legal professionals with an indispensable tool for navigating complex emotional fact patterns. By separating tragic outcomes from the objective mechanics of reasonable care, IRAC ensures the law compensates for true negligence without punishing society for the sheer bad luck of a freak coincidence.